Veronica Karaman. What? Is the founder of True Champion Coaching. As a mindset coach, she helps athletes, achievers perform at their best. She is an author, speaker, a golf professional who lives in the Pinehurst area, and she is here today to inspire us to be the best person we can be. I know I messed up and chopped this up real bad. Everybody, this is family. This is Veronica Karaman. This is Mike Karaman.
So you got all the looks in the family, huh? Oh,
Good job.
Yes, my claim to fame is that Mike is my brother.
Right.
Thank you for all the good you do in the community. You're a great blessing, and I'm glad to be here. I want to talk to you in the few minutes that I have with you about giving the best presents this Christmas season. And I'm not talking about the P-R-E-S-E-N-T-S presents, but the P-R-E-S-E-N-C-E presents. But I have to start with this one. A few years ago, I was buying my sister-in-law a Christmas present, and she likes flamingos. And I just happened to find one.
Oh, you stole that out of my garden.
And I liked it so much, I got myself one. And mine's name is Flame. And when I put Flame in the car and began to drive him home, he was in the passenger seat. And I got to a red light, and all of a sudden, this car next to me started honking profusely. I'm like, what is going on? So I turned to the guy, and he was like laughing hysterically because Flame was funny and brought joy to him. Next thing you know, I stopped at Whole Foods. And before I could get out of the car, there was a woman and her child about 20 feet away that saw Flame in the car. And they stopped, and they pointed, and they laughed. And all of a sudden, a revelation hit me. I can produce joy. And that hit me when I was feeling rather depressed. And I thought, I never had this thought before, that I could be a joy producer. And so being the explorer that I am, I wondered what would happen if I actually took Flame into the grocery store. So I took Flame into the grocery store, placed them in the grocery cart, and did my shopping as if nothing was wrong. And then all of a sudden, all these women started coming up to me. Oh, I love your flamingo. What's his name? Can I get one? And I said, well, you know, I got this. But would you like a picture with Flame? And they were like, yeah. So then I started posting it to Facebook. And then it became a tradition. And so it's like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years later, and realizing that something can happen when you give someone the gift of joy. And I want to talk about the dynamics of doing that. Is that all right? So I'm a coach, and most of the way that I do reality is through the lens of golf. And in golf, you look at a swing 2 ways. You look at the structure of it. How many golfers in here? Putters? Hackers at the yearly tournament? All right. So there's address, there's takeaway, there's the top of your swing, there's impact, there's follow through, and there's finish. So there's positions to the thing. But if all, yeah, that's what's wrong. Free lessons afterwards.
When do they start that?
That'll be a fundraiser in February, all right? But you can't just have positions. You have to add what?
The whole
Motion. You have to have motion. And the more speed you can create, the better it's going to be. So people say your swing looks so effortless. Why? Because you have motion within structure. And so often at Christmas time, we go through the structure of the holidays, right? We all have traditions. You're going to get together with family. How many get together with family? Christmas Eve, yeah? Maybe go to midnight mass. You have the transactional part of a holiday. But I want to talk to you about the motion part, about creating presence and joy. Because without the motion, the structure is incomplete. So there's 3, I call them heart positions, to be a joy producer. And the first one is simply, do this with me now, right? So you remember, is to have an open heart. Everybody go like this. Turn to the person next to you and say, open up. Open up. Yeah. Come on now, open. Okay. You gotta be open, right?
He's a Grinch.
Like, you gotta be open. You can't be the Grinch. The second thing you have to do is you have to be present. Everybody just say, be present. Open.
Open.
Come on, class.
Open.
Present.
Present.
Open
Because-
present, says it.
That's not what I'm talking about. So if you're open but you're not present, what are you thinking about? Later today, where you've been, to be fully present to somebody is both an art and a skill that you can develop. So we want to be open, we want to be present, to be fully engaged in what's before you. And there's a third part I want to add to make the biggest difference. You want to speak into that life of another. I call it speaking into somebody's inner champion. So let's practice, and then I'm going to give you a few examples. Ready? Be open.
Be open.
Oh, you can do better than that. Be open.
Be open.
Yeah. Be present.
Be present.
Speak into.
Speak into.
Yeah. Okay. So the other day, I was driving home from Myrtle Beach, and I stopped at the hotel because I was tired. I got up the next day for breakfast, and I was sitting there. And this woman was right across from me, and she had a nice pink top on, and I said, oh, I like your top. We got talking, and her daughter walked up. And her daughter had a t-shirt on that said, Warrior of God. So I got into a conversation with her, and I found out that she was in the 8th grade, and she was a wrestler. And, you know, being an athlete and a coach, we got to talking, and I said to her, I said, listen, you know, I never knew that being a really excellent athlete and student and doing those 2 things concurrently in high school, I was paving a way for a full college scholarship at Duke University, which I didn't even know what Duke was at the time. But I said, here I was in high school paying for my entire college education before I ever got there, because I pursued excellence in academics and athletics. And I said, if you will do that, if you will pursue both your athletics and your academics, an opportunity will open up for you, in fact, many will, that will put you on the highest trajectory of your life. I gave her a copy of my book, and in my book, I outline what peak performance is, the components of it, how it happens, and even though most of the examples are athletic, it's really about anybody pursuing personal goals. And she was overwhelmed. So I get in my car and I start driving away. And then she sends me a text. And she says, it was such a great experience meeting you. You don't know this, but I was getting ready to quit wrestling. Because my coach is a pole. She said, you just turned that around. She's been texting me ever since. Now she's sending me videos of her wrestling matches and is re-engaged in the pursuit of her passion. I could have walked out of that breakfast table totally minding my own business, but something happened when I was what? Open? Come on, y'all. Open, present, and speaking into. So I have a young budding champion named Charles. Charles is 14 years old, and Charles came to me shooting around 80. And so one of the first things that I do is I asked him, I said, when you prepare for a tournament, what's the first thing you do? He goes, well, I find out my tee time, and then I find out who my playing partners are, and then I go online and I research them. I said, Charles, what are you doing? I said, if all your attention is over there and comparing yourself, guess where it's not? And so then I said, you be the bar. You be the one that they compare themselves to. You be the standard. A light bulb came on. And then I was out watching him play one day and I said, Charles, you have one of the best swings I've ever seen in a junior player. I said, quit trying to make it perfect. Focus on the target and go play. Well, in 2 months' time, in fact, it was less than 2 months, Charles goes from shooting 80 to under par. That's like an improvement of 9 shots. And he won his first junior tournament, shooting 2 rounds under par, and he sent me a note recently saying 80% of my rounds are now under par. Because somebody spoke into the champion in him. And it wasn't all about the golf swing and the mechanics. It was about who he was. So I have another student named Avery. Avery comes from a privileged background, great guy, great family. Avery came to me shooting mid-80s. And I said to Avery one day, actually, this is a little different. I got on a coaching call with Avery, and one of his first calls. And I said, where's your journal? I said, this is a coaching call, you gonna take notes? Like, you gotta show up. So he went and got it, came back, and I said, take notes. And about 30 minutes went by, I said, what'd you take? He goes, I didn't write anything. I said, if you think I'm gonna carry your butt down the fairway, you got another thing coming. I said, you've got to be committed, or I'm done. And I'm doing this a long time. So I realized there comes a time when I call you place a demand on their inner champion, because you see what's there. And I thought, if he doesn't respond, it's okay, but I want to coach someone who shows up. Well, he shows up. And one day I said to him, I said, Avery, you have a little window of time for a college scholarship. You're a senior, but if you give your best to your academics and your athletics and you give a full court press, a door can open for you. Have you ever given a full court press to anything in your life? Of course, you know what he said. No. So, about 3 weeks ago, Avery just got offered a full scholarship to a university in Virginia to play college golf. And it's because I don't just give knowledge or information. I am open to looking and studying that person. Who are you? What process do you need? What do I need to speak into you? And it's easy to just bypass that. You know, how often we have a chance to be present with someone and to speak into their life. Final example, sometimes you have to be open, present, and speak into what?
Your own self.
Your own spirit. Earlier this summer, I was cleaning out my storage unit. I had a 5x10, and when you open it up, it was completely packed with boxes from floor to ceiling, front to back. My entire life was in that storage unit. All my notes for my education, books, products I've created, business files, pictures from family, and I ended up going through every single piece of paper. And it was 6 hours at a pop, several days a week for months. And I thought I was just trying to unload 4/5 of it because I was just tired of paying a monthly thing on my storage unit. But I ended up sitting there, laughing, crying, celebrating, lamenting, remembering, wishing, looking at the themes of my life, looking at what I wish I had done, reading letters of people who said, "You've changed my life, you've changed your life," and I had forgotten. I'd forgotten me. In fact, I've been trying to lose weight for some time. Anybody else here? Hello, is anybody else in the room? And I'd lose and gain. But I started looking at all these pictures of me when I really was thin. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not an overweight person that needs to lose weight. I'm a thin person who has, it changed everything for me. Because I'm going to get back to me and my best self. And so I want to encourage you as you go through this holiday season and beyond to be open, to be present, and to speak into. As a coach, my business is deeply personal. I have literally gotten at least 90% of my clients using this method. It's not social media. It's not even a marketing plan, although I'm sure that would help me. But it's showing up at a golf course and tournaments, talking to parents, and many times within 15 minutes, they sign up for a sizable program. And so I just want to encourage you. I don't know what the best presents you've ever given at Christmas, but probably for me, I remember one time I was at a Christmas party. Most of the people I kind of knew, but a lot of the people that I didn't, and I was feeling kind of out of place. And there was this one guy who just sat down, and I hardly knew him except for his name. Do you know what he did? He just got present with me. And he said, "How are you?" I will never forget that moment. Because it made me feel seen, valued, and it increased my value by being open, present, and spoken just through that question into my life. So can we just finish up with the little exercise? I'm going to be open.
I'm going to be open.
I'm gonna be open.
I'm going to be present.
I'm going to be present.
And I'm going to speak into
And I'm going to speak into
the champion
the champion
in someone's Christmas season.
in someone this Christmas season.
And if nothing else, remember,
Carrie Flanders.
here is an attribute of joy. Just be cute and smile. Thank you.
I'd rather help you out, carry the flame with you. Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna write that down still.
Stay up there.
Credit. What you
Okay.
Oh,